What is going on with y'all, man? It is Black Balloon, and we are coming back with another video, so y'all already know what's going on. Alright, y'all. As promised, we are going to go into part 2 of the Nickelodeon series. Now, in this video, I wanted to focus more on Dan Schneider, all of the allegations that have been made toward him. We're going to talk about Amanda Bynes, Ariana Grande, a little bit about Zoe 101, and just a bunch of the things that's been coming out. Like if y'all have been digging into this stuff, you might have seen some of these clips, but I think it's very important to add to the series so we can get a picture of, all of the predators basically that were behind the scenes at Nickelodeon and promoting so much sex through their actors and actresses, especially the one that I saw with Ariana Grande. We're going to get into that one after I get done right here, because that clip, that one might have been the worst one. Like the one with Leonardo DiCaprio, you could tell what was going on there. But the one that they had, I don't know if it was like a skit or I don't think it was actually shown on Nickelodeon. I'm not sure. But however that footage behind the scenes got out, to me it was very sick. I think Ariana Grande was no older than 15 years old. And what they had her do in that skit, or whatever you want to call it, was just, it was completely inappropriate. And no kid should be watching that or even participating in it, because it just lets you know the environment that was at Nickelodeon, which was being ran by these real predators. And they had these young teens doing things that they may have not, saw it to be so, sexual. I don't know, because they were being manipulated. But this one, I just gotta let y'all see this for yourselves. I don't even want to talk too much in the intro. We're gonna jump right into this first clip and go ahead and react to that. So with that being said, y'all, check this out.
The internet videos around Dan really started gaining momentum.
He made them do things that were very weird.
There are all these setups that reference porn
about Dan Schneider.
For decades, Dan seemed like he was untouchable. But around 2017, the internet videos around Dan really started gaining momentum.
He made them do things that were very weird.
There are all these setups that reference porn, like squirting goo on Jamie Lynn's face when she's just 13 years old.
Feel these kids' feet. Wow, they're really soft.
People were looking back at old scenes and saying, Dan Schneider is obsessed with feet. Check this out.
It's all very gross and foul
impossible to escape children's feet.
Dan Schneider.
Absolutely disgusting.
He's a grown-ass man. What the are you doing?
There's one video of Ariana Grande making a joke about a potato.
Sometimes I wonder if you can get juice from a potato.
Did that air on Nickelodeon?
Come on, give up the juice.
Yikes.
I'm thirsty.
In another video, Ariana's pouring water on herself in what seems like a very sexual manner. And people started saying, this feels inappropriate for children.
Looking at Dan Schneider's stars, some of them became extremely famous. Some of them really struggled publicly.
After her arrest last week.
Now, some of them are starting to speak out about what happened when they were on his sets.
I work with an incredibly emotionally abusive producer.
I did not feel safe around Dan Schneider while I was working at Nickelodeon.
All of this information has made us wonder what was happening behind the scenes.
As a reporter at Insider, I wanted to investigate further.
I've been waiting for someone to question the climate. It's been a long time coming.
I didn't feel safe to say, this hurt me.
The bad just doesn't go away. The bad stays for a lifetime.
It was a toxic, unsafe environment.
I can't sit on it anymore. I can't watch it continue.
I want people to be accountable.
I've been waiting 17 years for today.
Now, that Ariana Grande clip, the whole thing was sick, from the obsession with feet and writing it into your shows with little kids, the squirting of goo into little girls' faces, Jamie Lynn. The one with Ariana Grande though, that was insane, bro. The girl was literally holding a potato porn style, saying, "Give me the juice." Oh my God. We all know potatoes don't leak no kind of juice. If there is juice in a potato and I never knew it, please excuse me. That was just pure. That was crazy, y'all. I can't even believe like that was recorded. And it was very sexual. That's why I said she acted that out almost a little bit too well. Seemed like she had been, groomed for a very long time. Squirting water on her face, almost like moaning in a sense. And that's what they were doing on set.
Oh boy, what a week, y'all. Let's talk about it. My name is Jack. I was a child actor on Zoe 101, one of this guy's shows. I also worked in his production department as an intern on iCarly, and I worked in the writer's room on Salmon Cat and Victorious. This Max documentary that was recently released did a really good job of uncovering the details of workplace toxicity, specifically on Dan Schneider's shows for Nickelodeon. We could talk about the massages. We could talk about the fact that he would literally count his gold coin collection in front of his crew who was living paycheck to paycheck. We could talk about how sometimes he would bring out his shotgun to scare one of the writers when they were working at his house. We could talk about the high-level conversations I wasn't supposed to hear about how Nickelodeon didn't want to recommend antidepressants for Jeanette McCurdy after her mom died for fear that she might kill herself and make the network look bad. But what I do want to talk about is never letting this stuff happen again. This is an entire industry built on hope and dreams and adrenaline and wish fulfillment. And that can be a very dangerous thing for megalomaniacs to wield. Even in posting this, I'm a little afraid. Is this going to screw up my career moving forward? I have no idea, but I think it's important and it needs to be said. Because if my silence ensures the perpetuation of environments I don't want to work in anymore, then what is the point of working in them? And until Homeboy goes on 60 Minutes to answer some questions from some real journalists and not a cast member of his who he's paying to be there, apology not accepted.
Now that clip, just for starters, gives you an idea of who Dan Schneider was. And if we sat here and went over, every weird thing or every allegation against Dan Schneider, it would probably take us all day. I do want to get into this clip about how close Amanda Bynes and Dan Schneider was when she was just only 12 or 13 years old. It says, in recent revelations, the documentary alleged that Schneider once had a close and personal relationship with Amanda Bynes. This article goes into how close they really were when she was very young. I really want to put emphasis on that. It says, Today.com reported that Schneider cast Bynes in All That, following which she got her own spinoff, The Amanda Show, in 1999. Several witnesses claimed the two were very close on The Amanda Show. However, Schneider's involvement in Bynes' failed attempt at emancipation from her parents caused a split between them. Dan Schneider created hit Nickelodeon shows such as The Amanda Show, Drake and Josh, Zoe 101, iCarly, Victorious, and more. Before that, he worked as a writer on All That, Good Burger, and Kenan and Kel. I also think one of the guys that produced Stranger Things, he also worked with Dan Schneider as well. And y'all remember we talked about the Hellfire Club and Stranger Things back in part 1. So I found it interesting that he actually worked with one of those guys early in his career. And Stranger Things, like I said, was a target show for younger kids. Although, we haven't heard anything about any of those guys, but, I just thought I would put that out there. But he was behind Good Burger, which is, a lot of people loved that movie when it came out with Kenan and Kel. Schneider also helped launch the acting careers of actors like Amanda Bynes and Drake Bell. However, in 2018, the network cut ties with the producer Schneider after the allegations surfaced. Amanda Bynes and Dan Schneider's close relationship during Bynes' growing years is one of the main focus points of ID's Quiet on Set. Her role in Nickelodeon's All That and The Amanda Show under Schneider's guidance helped launch her acting career. In the documentary, Johnson says she first watched the latter perform at the Laugh Factory Comedy Club in Los Angeles and recommended her to Schneider. Former All That cast members Katrina Johnson and Leon Frierson claimed Amanda Bynes' father, Rick Bynes, and Dan Schneider carefully crafted Amanda's career. Fabian further said Bynes and Schneider were very close on The Amanda Show. Very few people made Dan laugh, and Amanda did. Bynes was 13 years old when The Amanda Show debuted. Now that's something to note. Very few people could make him laugh, but Amanda made him laugh. She was only 13 years old. So it makes you ask yourself, how come he's so giggly with a 13-year-old? You know, was he choosing to be that way? I think he was. In the docuseries, it says they had to go to school on set. There would be times when Amanda would just be missing. A lot of times we would hear she would be with Dan, pitching ideas and writing. We see them grow closer to each other on set. Dan Schneider was very responsible for Amanda Bynes' career, and they were very tied to each other, and I think she trusted him. This all seems like grooming to me. Several cast and crew members of The Amanda Show spoke about Schneider's close relationship with Bynes. One such witness was Corinne Finley Thompson, who served as an editor on All That. She stated that Thompson described Bynes and Schneider's close bond and quiet on set. Thompson alleged, "I definitely saw Amanda being very close physically with Dan. There were many times that I saw Amanda sitting behind him, hugging him, or like giving him a neck massage or whatever. Dan and Amanda had a close relationship, and I didn't think anything different than that." So she was 13 years old, sitting behind him, hugging him, and giving him a neck massage. And he was sitting there, allowing it, and admitted to some of these actions. Also, you gotta check this out as well.
Welcome to my exclusive. Today my special guest is the executive producer of The Amanda Show, Dan Schneider.
Hi.
Now you're the executive producer of the show.
Yes, I'm the executive producer and the head writer.
You actually wrote the words we're saying to each other right now.
Yeah. Yes, I wrote this whole conversation that we're having right here.
Since you're the executive producer.
Give me an IC. Can we have an IC before sent to the executive producer?
IC.
Now, IC now. IC now sent to the executive.
Hi, welcome to my exclusive. Today my special guest is the executive producer of The Amanda Show, Dan Schneider.
Hi.
Now, you're the executive producer of the show?
Yeah, I'm the executive producer and I'm the head writer.
You actually wrote the words we're saying to each other right now?
Yes, I actually wrote this whole conversation that we're having right now.
I see. Now, since you're the executive producer of the show, can I write?
No.
Now that I find to be, very weird. And a lot of people was posting that a couple of years ago when it was surfacing, the allegations were surfacing around Dan Schneider back in 2018. And they saw him and her in that hot tub, I guess doing a segment or whatever. But that was very questionable and, just seemed like grooming once again, choosing to laugh at only her jokes, creating a very close and comfortable relationship so the girl trusts you. These are all tactics in my eyes, and it's quite disgusting what the guy was actually doing. And he actually sat down and tried to apologize for some of his actions that he now looks back on and deems it to be inappropriate. Said Dan deeply regrets asking anyone for neck massages. Though they happened in public settings, he know this was highly inappropriate and would never happen again. So he was asking for neck massages. And also they talked about the fact that Amanda Bynes' parents just let anything happen. They were the type to not complain about anything. And also, she had this whole thing where she was trying to emancipate herself and use Dan for help. And supposedly that was like, what created the rift between their close relationship when she was only 12 or 13 years old. But once again, it's another message that goes back to the parents. And this is not just in Nickelodeon or the acting industry. This is in music as well. You know, just like with Usher. Just like with the woman who defended Dan Schneider, I think was it Chris Massey, and said that they want to see him as the guy that he was to their family, not this guy who's being, you know, outed. But it definitely goes back to the parents who turn a blind eye in order for their kids to become successful and for them to reap the benefits, i.e. money, off of their careers or potential careers. Just like with Usher and Diddy. Parents let him go live with Diddy at 13 years old. So we already know it starts with the parents. And there's no way in this world I would have a child and allow my child to be groomed by 30-something-year-old men, and he's not even 14 years old, or she's not even 13 years old. I just don't understand it. There's no amount of money in the world. But a lot of people don't think like that. And a lot of people will use their children for their own benefit.
And he's still sound asleep. What are we gonna do? I don't know.
You know, in situations like this, I always ask myself, what would P. Diddy do?
What would P. Diddy do?
No, I don't know. Hey, let's ask him.
Oh, okay.
P. Diddy?
What's up?
We can't wake up Shane.
You try symbols?
Yep.
What about sour milk?
Didn't work.
Tell you what. Take this toy helicopter. Put it down his pants.
All right, we'll do it. We'll do.
All right, come on, put it in. Nothing.
Didn't work. He's still asleep.
Try this.
Shall I? By all means.
Now, this is what I'll say about that clip. I was completely surprised just to start it off because I had no idea Diddy appeared on all that. And I thought it was a perfect time to go ahead and throw that clip in because, you know, obviously we're on the subject of Amanda Bynes and Dan Schneider. And y'all, I just, that piece right there just really confirms the club that these dudes are in and what kind of people they are. For them to invite Diddy on a segment of the show and for Diddy to be given those lines, obviously Dan Schneider wrote those lines, to tell the two young boys to put the little helicopter in his pants is insane. And then use a little remote to make it go off or start moving and stuff in his pants. That is insane, y'all. It just goes back to what we were talking about in part one on how, you know, the adults know what's going on. Like Dan Schneider knew what he was doing when he wrote that scene. You know, adults know what's going on. Kids, that's like funny. Oh, put it in his pants. All right, cool. That's funny. But it's adults who are getting these little kids to do this on TV. And they see it just as a joke and as a game. But it's like, even we would have saw it that way when we were younger. You was 14, 15. But little do you know, you being manipulated by these grown men who doing this for their own pleasure. And that's crazy. I swear, that clip right there, I just couldn't believe that. I knew it. Like when I found it, someone sent it to me on Instagram. When I saw it, I just knew something was about to, he was finna say something that was just gonna cross the inappropriate lines. Like, I knew it was coming. And sure enough, put that in his pants. What? That is crazy. Like I said, the internet's undefeated, bro. How are we talking about Diddy and we're doing a part 2 on Nickelodeon, Dan Schneider, Amanda Bynes? How did Diddy come into this video? Why? Because they all in the same club, y'all. Diddy wouldn't have been on the show if he wasn't already, you know, showing the industry what he is about. And I got something else I want to show y'all that proves this whole Diddy thing as well. But we're going to save that for the updated video about Diddy and all this other stuff that's been going on. I'm going to do a quick video on that because I want to show y'all this clip and get y'all opinions on it. So with that being said, y'all, we're going to go ahead and wrap this part 2 video up. If anything else comes out and, you know, I feel like we should make another video, I definitely will. Hope y'all enjoyed that video. Let me know what y'all think about everything in the comments. It's Black Balloon, and I'm going to see y'all soon. I'm out.